Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. Alright, this is Draft Day, College Basketball, 2017. We are the Olympic Decathlon rings, and unlike a standard college basketball game with conferences such as Pac-12, SEC, and so on, what we have instead is a promotion relegation system. So we are set up as a lower league manager team of 23 college conferences that they've set up. We are in the 23rd and final division at the bottom. This is season number 2. We had an amazing start to the season at 4-2, which was quickly followed by 6 straight losses. The 6th and final loss of that streak was the first game of conference play. Virtually all of those games were on the road. So once we got into conference play, we finally got to the point where we're splitting half of our games at home, and the difference becomes immediate because on the road we are 0-6, at home we are 7-2. We've won 3 straight games in conference play, are now 3-1 conference play, and we are 7-8 overall. In today's episode, we're going to see what we can do about getting all the way to the end of the season. Recruiting wise, we're in the same place where we left off. We have our second and final scholarship on offer out right now to a shooting guard, a spot that we need to fill desperately. It's not a very good one either, so there's no urgency on trying to get him to sign, as there are slightly lower ranked players right behind him waiting in his wings if he does not sign with us. So we're going to do a lot of straight simulating through games here for a while, but we will watch a couple of games. The win streak has come to an end. Follow from the bottom here, we are 7-9 now, so we lost our 5th conference game of the season. But overall, we're still above 500 on our conference record, so we might actually make the conference tournament this season if we are able, if it wasn't just a fluke, that 3-game win streak. Team certainly looks better than a year ago. Even at 7-10 right now, we're only 1 win off of our entire total from a year ago.
You have new mail.
And we're gonna sim through one whole week here again before we stop to watch one of the games. And also, we'll plan to check in on our recruits and the status there. I'm down to a short list of about 8 or 9 players left that we've been working on. For all of them, at least as of a couple weeks ago, we were in their top 4, with about half of those players having us listed as either number 1 or number 2. So we're in with a shout for all of the players that remain, but only one of the players that remain has a decent ranking. He is at small forward, and we've already signed a pretty decent small forward in, or at least letter of intent, from Kevin Cole. His ranking was quite a bit higher earlier in the season. It dropped a bit, and then it actually came back up a bit. So currently, their ranking is 848. Not good, but you've got to.
You have new mail.
We are Division 23 of 23, so we have no hope of landing top recruits until we start working our way up through the rankings, and landing a top 1,000 recruit is huge for our school. Last season, we did not have a good recruiting record, yet we still had about the 3rd best recruiting class for the entire conference. And no surprise, none of our players make the top 30 for the Norton Award. Let's go ahead and check in for recruiting. We are 8-11 right now, so it looks like we did pull off one win during the week, and we have matched our win total from last season now. Okay, so Marsh here is that one higher ranking recruit left. We are just in his top 3. I'm very tempted to go ahead to try to sign him, but considering we already have a small forward, it wouldn't be a very wise idea in the long term of things, especially when we are desperate at guard. So as a result, we're going for the next highest ranked one, who is Pipeline, and just outside of the top 1,000, which would still be a good recruit for us. We are only number 3 on his list. He hasn't even visited, and I keep trying to host him, but he always declines. And then you have to drop down a couple hundred spots in the rankings before we get down to our trio of point guards and our final shooting guard that are ranked quite a bit lower. We do have 2 junior college players coming over, though, so that might not be terrible. Overall, all of these players are rated a C. And the passing and handling, for example, on Alexander, even though he's low ranking, is actually probably better than the players we have right now on the roster. Get an update on these guys. Guards anyway. We have plenty of money left to spend budget-wise, so we're not going to have any shortage there as we approach the end of the season. It'd be nice if Barshak does sign, but not a big deal if we need to go down to one of these lower players. Probably the last ones that we would look at are these bigger guys, as we are definitely in need. And for example, Weathers actually might be dropped off the list here fairly soon. He's just so low ranking, and again, we already have a small forward. We had been number 1 on his list for a long time, so it looks like somebody has finally started to recruit him besides us, and he's gone up to they've gone up to number 1 on his list. He's from Alaska, so it's not even a local kid or anything. Alright, well, at 8-11, we're going to see if we can get a game in this week that we can view. We'll see who our next game is against. Alright, so we are going up against an evenly matched, in terms of record-wise, South Dakota team. Go ahead and watch that game today. It'd be nice to see the progress of the team. Surprisingly, our weakest player on the starting lineup has actually been our highest scorer of the season so far. So it's been nice to see Dawson at point guard playing fairly well. Let's go ahead and watch the game cast. We are at home today. Kevin Wise did miss some time with an injury, but it was only about a week and a half that he was out, so he missed a couple games during that time. Alright, we are going at fast game speed, so if you're ready for it, we're going to fly through. Alright, slow start for the team as we are down 7-0. Leads down to 2, and we are tied halfway through the first half. 43-62 final. A little slower performance in the second half. Scoring backed off. Defense backed off a bit, but we do hang on and win the game, going to 9-11 on the season and maintaining our roughly 500 record in the conference. If we can keep that up throughout the year, we should, or at least will. If we are around 500 in conference play, we will definitely make the end of season tournament. For that, top 12 teams qualify, and we have, 16, I think. 4, 8, 12, 16 teams in the conference. 12 make tournament play. You get a first round bye for the top 4, while the next 8 play in that first round. And so only 4 teams end up sitting out right now. The mark there is 3-6. So we are comfortably in the middle of the pack. It looks like we might see our first ever conference tournament this season, but we have a long ways to go. We're only 9-11. We still have at least a handful of games left to play, and we're going to go ahead and try to get through those still on this episode. So we're going to simulate the whole week here so that we can keep up that pace and see if we can get to another game somewhere around conference play, as long as we don't go on a crazy losing streak, dropping out of the playoff positions. We obviously stand no chance of making any major tournaments with the kind of record we have. It's all about conference play now. Looks like we are still not in position to earn promotion this season, but the team certainly looks better. Our prestige that began its first season at 1 out of 100, even with a poor season last year.
You have new mail.
Did rise to 4 out of 100. And a much better season that we're having right now at 9-12, as long as we're able to still grab a few more wins before the end of the season. Should continue to raise that further. Now, with that low prestige, it's still not going to do anything to help us recruit players, but it's that positive sign, it's that positive growth. It's what will bring this team up eventually. Again, we've only had a single recruiting class at this point, so if we bring in, like, say, Kevin Cole, and he's a strong player, if we bring in a shooting guard or point guard who's a stronger player, it should develop this roster over the long term to start getting better players on the court who are more competitive. And the wins do keep coming. We're at 11-12 right now. So we're nearly at 500 on the season, 7-5 in conference play. 7 wins should be enough to guarantee a place.
You have new mail
in the conference tournament. So let's go ahead and check our update here. Yeah, Norton semifinalists. Looks like Connecticut is the favorite. We'll check in real quick with our recruits. So for Marsh, we are back up to number 2 for him. Marshak still just hanging in at 3rd. I'm partway tempted to go after Marsh just because he's the best player available. Let's check his categories. He's a good passer. He's good inside. Not that strong on D. One of the reasons I went after Cole is he's a strong defender. Rebounds, blocks, steals. So overall defense isn't great, but his other categories that assist that are really good. Not a great scorer, though. And if you look at it, his high school stat categories, he's not scoring a ton of points, but he is assisting well. He's getting a decent amount of rebounds, blocks, and steals. I mean, that's pretty high, 3.3 steals per game. That's a lot higher than anybody else on this list. And that is one point of emphasis for this team, is an aggressive defense that tries to force a lot of turnovers, particularly through steals, not blocks. It's a high full court pressure that we run the majority of the time. And that's where in a low division like what we have, we might have players that have poor ball control. That's where we can create a lot of turnovers. So it is tempting to go after him. Again, he's pipeline also. He's from Washington. Marshak's been in this position for a long time with the scholarship offer, and is still no higher than third place. So it might be time we move on. I mean, it's been at least 2 months that he has had this scholarship offer, and he's still only third. All right, let me get into the mode where I can actually make some changes. And let's make a change. We'll give a quick shot at that player. I am going to revoke your scholarship. Sorry, bud. You had your chance. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and offer Marsh. He's the best player available. I know the team's going to be hurting without the shooting guard position. But we cover down. We do what we do based on the best players on the court. And that'll help the team the most. No, it doesn't give us a balanced attack, but in a weak conference like we have, if you can put some better players out there, it can make a real difference, even if they're playing out of position and you adapt your style accordingly. Alright, Marsh, you're second right now. Let's see if this will boost you up to us being your favorite. And you're still declining the invitation, but maybe with that scholarship offer in a week's time or in a few weeks' time, you'll be more likely to take. Alright, let's go back to our regular view so we can use the shortcuts. Nope, you're not gonna. Keep trying to invite these guys, and none of them want to come to the school. Okay, and we'll check in on our man Cole. Alright, back to simming the week. Alright, so we're 11-12 overall, 7-5 in conference. Let's see if we can at least grab one win this week. I don't know if we're home or away for these pair of games, or if they even worry about that here on the master schedule. Alright, 11-13 now, so the first game of the week is a loss. Regardless of record, we do get the win, second game of the week, so we split 1-1. As great as it would be to achieve a 500 record this season, I'm content even if we lose every game the rest of the way. We're definitely showing improvement, and that is the most important thing. When you're in the 23rd division, and I'm not worried about trying to get promoted season after season. I'm trying to build a competitive program, and I'd like to get to the point where we crush the competition in this conference and are strong enough to do that for a handful of years and kind of make a run through the various divisions. instead of getting just good enough to just squeak by and get up to the next conference, and then being kind of right back where we were, where we're struggling to stay put. All right, so it looks like we split our games again this week, which is real nice to see that we're able to hold that level. So we are 13 and 14 on the season, 9 and 7 in the conference, and we should be just about to the end of the regular season now.
You have new mail.
I have to check our schedule and see. Looks like we only have one game coming up in this next week against South Dakota again, which was the game. I believe that's the game we watched. Yes. Oh, it is conference tournament. Okay. And yeah, it is. It was South Dakota that we watched. That was 73-62. That was the final. And it is a home game. So we are once again playing South Dakota, and it's because it is conference play. So we have ended the regular season now. We ended with a win. Down the stretch, we were 6-3 in our final 9 games. So we finished conference 9 and 7, and that put us, let's see, 7th overall, actually tied for 6th within the conference. So great performance from last year where we couldn't even make the conference play. We weren't last, and that had been the season objective. At this point, I'm not even sure. I don't remember what the season objective was this year. I think it might have been the same objective of last year, of not finishing last. Alright, well, South Dakota is a team that we can beat. They were 8-8 in conference. But we definitely had the comfortable win, and we are playing at home. That's definitely the big thing for us. We did finish at 11-3 at home, while just 2-11 on the road. So just 2 wins away from home. But again, that's a sign of a growing team that we're able to hold the court when we're playing at home. All right, let's check in on our recruits, and then we will definitely watch that South Dakota game and see how we do in the tournament this year. So Marsh, we've held at second place on his top 10 schools. So whoever is above him or above for him, while we don't know who that is, they have remained his top pick. Marshak, obviously upset by retracting the scholarship offer. We're still inside his top 10. And for these remaining players at the bottom, we've moved up to number 1 for most of these guys. Outside of Weathers. Weathers is the only one that we haven't, and actually, because he's also a small forward, we're going after multiple small forwards otherwise, and 17. I'm going to go ahead and take him off our list. Get him out of there. Most of these guys favor us now over others, and we have a pretty easy chance of signing them, and we would need a guard if anything else. So there's no reason to go after additional small forwards. Marsh only because he is ranked so much higher than the other players on this list. Right, let's head back in and let's see what happens in conference in the conference tournament. If we are able to win this next game, we would at least temporarily get ourselves to a 500 record. But it'll take 2 wins in the conference tournament to actually maintain that. Right. we're going to go ahead and watch this game. Matchups today. You can see up here. We are playing the best record of the away teams. But again, because we're at home, I would make us the favorite for this game. Let's see what happens. South Dakota, once again, the opponent. Lineup is intact. We haven't had any injuries. And we're going to begin the game. Tournament game. A couple minutes in. We haven't the same impact as last game. We were down 5-1. But unlike last game, much more quick the lead going back and forth early on. Neither team has scored. Long stretch here. Staying just 3 points ahead. And now scoring department. They start to pull ahead, but they start back. So as we're approaching halftime, this is still a relatively close game. We're just 3 points up now. 1 point up as we approach halftime. 30 seconds before halftime. We're going halftime up 34-30. So we have a pretty tight game on our hands. But we do have the second left. Game is now tied. South Dakota is up ahead for the first time since early in the game. And they continue. We're going to go ahead and use the 30-second timeout. We have 1 point game, 9 minutes to play. Brunson makes 2 free throws to get us the lead back. Plays going back and forth here with both teams missing a lot of shots. Look at the horrible shooting from our outside players. Cornell off the bench appears to be our leading scorer right now with 11 points on 5 of 8 shooting. So we are not shooting the ball well today at all. Under 7 minutes to play now. We are hanging on to just a 1 point lead. We have 2 timeouts still left. And looking at stat categories as they pop up, we are forcing more turnovers than our opponent, but it looks like our shooting is what is letting us down. And meanwhile, they have Matt Coleman shooting 9 of 17, 9 rebounds, and 20 points. Leading scorer. I haven't seen a 20-point performance on this game in a while. 5.5 minutes ago, we were up 4. Looks like we're grabbing a lot of our points from the free throw line right now, so we're at least attacking the basket hard enough to draw the calls and get to the free throw line where we're at least taken care of. So Mike Watson gets the dunk, closing the gap to 2, and we continue to miss our shots, and they are suddenly making them. They've retaken the lead with a 3-point lead. We're turning the ball over and putting them right back on the line. But we're able to get the ball back, get the layup, retake the lead, but they immediately turn around and score themselves. So we're down 2 with 3 minutes to play. Cornell ties the game. Cornell definitely with the hot hand today. It's a good job that he's being left in. But I don't think he'll be in a whole lot longer with that fatigue level. Bailey appears to be our only other double-digit scorer. We're 10 down on the rebounds category. We're still 2 points behind with 2 minutes to play. Shot was blocked here. We forced the turnover. And Darren Brunson, again, the hot hand. Tie game, under a minute to play. They get the offensive rebound. We commit the foul. They make both free throws. We got 30 seconds to play. We're going to take full timeout with 26 seconds left. We've got the ball. Kevin Wise comes in off the timeout, makes a slam dunk to tie the game. Closing seconds. And they make the 3. Derek Fox drains the three, buzzer beater, and we are out of conference play in the first game, losing at home. Tough loss. Team fought hard, but we were definitely out-rebounded and shot very poorly in the game. A lot of those points were coming from the free throw line, and that's going to do it. That is the end of our season. So we wrap up the season at 13-15. 9-7 in regular conference play. Picking up that 8th loss in the tournament. All in all, though, you've got to say that is a good season compared to our last 13 wins. 115 points. Definitely a better performance than where we had been previously. So, 115 points wraps up this season. Next time we'll be approaching the beginning of season number 3 in the league. So, that does it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So, if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe, and tune in next time on my road to the record.